For those of you who don't know me, I'm Lynn. I'm Claudia's daughter. I'm actually going to start off a little easy by sharing someone else's words. Catherine Bennett was a student of Claudia's at High Meadows, and she really wanted to be here, but she lives in Australia. So she asked me to read her words for her. I met Claudia for the first time on August 12, 1991 at High Meadows School. I was such an anxious child that in my first meeting with Claudia, I crawled under a table. She crawled under there with me. According to my mom, I didn't even notice when she left to go and talk with the principal. This was the start of the best 3 years of my school days. I absolutely loved being in the focus class. I don't remember any formal lessons I learned, but I do remember the number of field trips to amazing places such as pizza shops where we got to make our own pizza and a Kroger where we got to go behind the scenes. Knowing at the age of 7 that your teacher really cares about you and will do anything that will help you succeed in life is such a special thing to realize. I moved back to Australia in 1996, and not long after I got back in touch with Claudia and was able to send messages to her and let her know what I was up to and how I was doing in school. That was very important to me as I looked up to Claudia and saw her as a very important person in my life. I even did a paper on her in high school titled My Hero. When I was 23 in 2007, after working at a summer camp in the U.S., I came and visited Claudia and got to see Porter Academy. This was a great thrill to me to see the school that she had worked so hard at in person. I again realized just how much she still cared when, after a conversation with her about my life and how much I still struggled with math, spelling, and grammar, I found myself agreeing to some lessons, which led to testing, which I can tell you brought back some memories. The fact that Claudia did this for me on the weekend and after a long day at running the school spoke volumes to me, which I don't think I fully realized at the time. But now, looking back as a 40-year-old, I understand that it is rare to have a teacher who is always there cheering you on. So I understand now why it affected me so much when I found out that she had passed away. She was a very important person in my life, one that I always wanted to make proud. Thank you for being such an integral part of my life. I will always love you and miss you. Love, Catherine. Okay, now my own words. I'm also going to read because even on a normal day, my mind jumps all over the place. Today, I didn't want to mess it up, so I apologize for reading, but here it is. My mom was good. She cared, she was honest and upfront, and she made good things happen. She knew what was important to her and always did what she thought was best, even when it took fighting for. She fought both for her own children as well as the children she worked with throughout her career. For all the years that she worked under a supervisor, she would push back anytime someone tried to stop her from doing what she thought best. Once she started her own school and had that ultimate say, she made that fact clear to everyone around her. Anyone who worked with her at Porter Academy can tell you that her favorite rhetorical question was, "Whose name is on the building?" which she asked anytime someone questioned how she wanted something done. I can't know what was in her head, but if she had any fear, she certainly didn't let it stop her. I was fortunate because I got to be part of both her personal and professional life. Not only did I get to help out with her work as I was growing up, but I joined her school once I became an occupational therapist. It was clear how much she enjoyed being with children as a mother, grandmother, and teacher. She had this amazing intuition about what children needed and provided it without hesitation or embarrassment. I remember her playing in a baby pool full of beans, dumping the beans on herself and on the kid while she was singing songs, because that's what got that child to respond. She loved her special alliteration nicknames, her superstars, super sheets, and enthusiastic exclamations of how brilliant a child was, all of which were incredibly effective at building their confidence. Her way of interacting with children was so beneficial and changed so many lives through her work at the Child Development Center in High Meadows School that Muriel Lang, a parent of one of my mom's students and a teacher herself, encouraged my mom to start her own school in order to allow her complete freedom to do things how she felt they should be done. And how she always told the story was the administration at High Meadows was causing her troubles, and Muriel was in there talking with them, and she turned to my mom and said, "You're leaving." And my mom said, "Where am I going?" And she said, "You're going to start your own school." And that's what happened. Despite the fact that my mom never intended to expand her school beyond a single classroom inside a church building, Porter Academy is currently celebrating its 25th year of helping about 70 students every year. She made an incredible difference for so many children and their families throughout her career, and she has left her legacy in Porter Academy to continue helping children for many years to come. And very much in Claudia's style, we are celebrating 25 years with a carnival, and I have the flyer out there. I would love for you all to show up. Bouncy houses, animals, face painting, very much her. As a mother, she also figured out what we needed and made it happen. I know she did amazing things for my brothers, like starting her own swim team, but I'm going to focus on what I know best, what she did for me. I came into this world with my funny walk and speech issues and so shy that I would hide behind my mom's legs and was frequently asked if I was even capable of speaking. So my mom did everything she could to get me feeling confident and like I fit in. Swim team, Girl Scouts, social groups, and she found dance classes in a neighbor's basement where even I could feel comfortable. She poured herself into ensuring that we all had positive childhoods and gained the confidence we needed to face the world. She not only signed us up for things, she was always involved herself in making those things amazing. I remember us capsizing a sailboat together at Girl Scout camp, cooking food over a fire at the park, her as bullpen mom at swim meets, making bracelets from tree bark with Mark Warren, exploring Merlin's Pond at High Meadows, and outdoor adventures with Clay White. Even once I was an adult, my mom gave me the gift of being my unwavering cheerleader. Everything from being a classroom teacher my first year to my healthy lunch efforts to designing a new school building, my mom made me feel like I could do it. My mom had this infinite faith in her children as well as other children, and I can tell you that it felt really good to have someone telling me that I could do these things, especially when I wasn't so sure myself. As a grandmother, she loved the role of playmate with her grandchildren. She got down on the ground to play with toys, on the playground equipment with them, in the foam pit, in the pool, or whatever else her grandchildren wanted to do. She simply enjoyed them. Of course, she also made them feel special. My daughter Mackenzie was fortunate to get 13 years of positive attention from her Grammy before dementia hit hard, and I have no doubt that she benefited enormously from that relationship. And even though, and even though my son Carter was only 6 when her dementia got bad, she still managed to share some of her magic with him. Not too long before she died, he shared with me how good it made him feel when he would ask her how she was doing, and her response was, "Better now that you're here." Making others feel good about themselves was such a core part of who she was that it survived until the end. In addition to her love of children, she loved animals. She traveled all over the world, and everywhere she went, she managed to find some way to interact with animals. In South Africa, she saw people inside the cheetah area and took it upon herself to figure out how they got there and to get us there as well. So we got to pet cheetahs. In Florida, we were walking along a boardwalk and she noticed a group doing dolphin training, so she asserted herself and we got to join the group playing with the dolphins. She went to Australia and got to hang out with kangaroos. She swam with dolphins multiple times, rode elephants, went scuba diving and snorkeling to explore ocean life, played with baby tigers, lions, and bears in Kansas, visited with giant iguanas in the Galapagos Islands, enjoyed butterflies landing on her, and many other animal adventures. I hope you all will check out the picture books and slideshows during the reception to give you a glimpse into all these adventures. She also kept busy while at home. Tennis and swimming were constants in her life, but she also tried her hand at different hobbies like scrapbooking and collage making, bread making, experimenting with smoothies, drawing, playing piano, and step aerobics, where, like in the rest of her life, she stepped to her own drummer. She loved people as well. While she told me she was incredibly shy as a kid, she seemed to easily talk to people and make friends wherever she went as an adult. I remember her making a new friend on a short bus drive in another country. It baffled me how she so easily made connections everywhere she went. I also admired how she didn't get stuck on how things are done. She found new solutions when how things are done didn't cut it. This applied to how she taught children, but also to how she solved adult problems. I remember when one of her speech clients couldn't afford to pay for speech. My mom traded speech sessions for that night's dinner. The child's mom would use our kitchen to make dinner while my mom worked with her child in our basement. I especially remember that because that's how I learned to make lasagna. I like how a friend reflected on this tendency, saying, "Your mom made it work for those around her." I remember at times thinking, can you just do that? My mom just did things how she thought they should be done, with no apparent qualms about breaking any unwritten or even written rules. As Robert Morse so nicely put it when talking to me about her email address, it wasn't because she was first that she didn't follow the rule. She didn't follow the rule because she's Claudia. My mom lived a very full life and truly engaged with the world around her. There was no sitting back and watching the world go by for her. Looking through the sentiments people shared, the common themes are that my mom had a strong personality and strong opinions, but also sincerely wanted the input of everyone around her, which she would genuinely consider. She was incredibly kind, generous, warm, and welcoming to everyone. She put action to her goals and left a legacy behind that will not soon be forgotten. My mom was the kind of person who loved you until you learned to love yourself. While I didn't say it enough, I love my mom very much and will miss her in my life, as well as watching the impact she had on the lives of others. One sec. While I'm up here to talk about my mom, I do want to give a shout out to my dad, even though it will probably embarrass him. It was amazing how my dad supported my mom the whole way through. I don't just mean through the years of dementia, although I cannot imagine any way he could have done more for her through that, but through all their time together. He supported her emotionally and financially through starting her own school, going so far as to put their house up for collateral on the loan when Porter Academy purchased its own property. He also enabled her to travel the world and supported her in whatever adventure or hobby she wanted to pursue next. He was her rock who provided the foundation that enabled her to put herself out there and accomplish all that she did. So thank you for always supporting her and the rest of us too. I love you too. That's all I got. And there she is, Muriel. What? That's okay. What? Would you still like to come up and say some words, or do you want a minute? Okay, come on up then, and jump right in.
I'm Muriel Lang, and I talked to this. Okay, thank you. Claudia would be so happy to see you all here, and I'm happy to be here too. I knew Claudia in a way probably different from almost everybody else. I met her at the High Meadows School when she was teaching in the focus class for kids who had difficulty in the other classes. They weren't learning to read. My daughter was one of them, and this picture has been on in my hallway forever. You probably can't see it, but this was 30 years ago. There's Claudia with her arm around my daughter. My daughter learned to read in that class, and she was the perfect person to be teaching kids who had difficulty to read, because she had been trained in speech-language therapy. But she was kind of a math phobe, so I joined the class to be the math teacher. I had been a high school math teacher, and so we fit together very well. She was an amazing teacher. She knew how to get children who learn differently to learn. The most amazing thing was how she could motivate the kids who had to do something that was harder than it was for most kids. And that was just so impressive. She celebrated each child's achievement, and she loved every one of those kids. When High Meadows decided they were going to change their way of teaching and have everybody included in single classrooms, she knew that was a mistake for the kids who were learning so well in her group. So we decided to fulfill her dream, which was to have a school of her own. And the two of us, with the help of lots of wonderful parents, started our own school, which was the Porter School and eventually the Porter Academy. We had 11 kids in the basement of a church. And the school grew and eventually became Porter Academy. I worked there with her for years, and I had been a high school math teacher. I knew nothing about teaching reading, but I learned from her how to do it. And when I finally left the school had become larger and was going to self-contained classrooms, and I was not an elementary teacher. I was the math specialist. So I left and I went to the Huntington Learning Center over in Woodstock, and I moved away. There, I was doing the very same things that Claudia did. These were kids who'd come after school because they were struggling in their classrooms. They couldn't learn to read, had trouble with math. And mostly I was teaching reading, just like Claudia did. It's something I could never have done if I hadn't been with her all those years. I went with her to all the conferences where we learned about the Orton-Gillingham method and so on, and I watched her teach, and I learned how to motivate those kids using her methods. And so I became the Claudia Porter of the Huntington Learning Center. And I'm still teaching there. I've been there for 18 years now. And I'm 86 years old with no intention of retiring because I can do it. That's the one thing that Claudia never allowed in her school was the word can't. Those kids could do anything they tried to do, and they did. And I'm carrying on what she did, and I am so grateful to her for what I have become and for all the things that she did for those multitudes of children who succeeded when they otherwise might not have. So thank you, Claudia, wherever you are.
Here's, if you turn forward.
Here.
You're at the microphone now.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Ed Rathel, a longtime friend of the family. The year was 1975. On a warm, kind of sleepy morning in May, I was outside, and the only sound was the birds singing and the noise coming from my lawnmower. I was about to cut a strip of grass out by the driveway. I had a street corner lot, and as I was about to start mowing, my eyes caught someone walking along the street. I didn't think much of it at the time, so when I got down to the curb, I swung the lawnmower around and kept mowing. On my next pass, I saw he wanted to come over and talk. So when I got down to the curb, I turned the engine off, and we introduced ourselves. His unassuming and easygoing manner made him likable. That was Alan, and he was someone I wanted to get to know. So the next afternoon, I walked up the street over to his house. My vision was really bad at the time, so my eyes were focused on the door. As I got closer, I bumped into something hard. Then I heard crying. And then before I knew what happened, the door swung open. It was Claudia. She stood there in disbelief and in a huff said, "You just knocked my kid into the bushes." As I stammered through my apology, her eyes rolled, and dumbfounded, how could I not have seen him? Well, that was good enough for a shaky start and for teaching one of her kids how to fly. We became friends after she found out about my eye problem, and she seemed to have a little bit more empathy towards me thanks to her involvement with special needs. And she was fun to hang out with, and at times I would mess with her, like offering her a ride at nighttime to the store when Alan was out of town. She was amazed I even had a license. She was even more amazed that I was still driving and kept reminding me to stop. I would joke with her that I was going to drive all around the neighborhood, and she got serious after that. She was afraid I was going to miss seeing the kids playing, and of course she worried about the maniacs of her speeding by the house. So I wasn't that surprised one morning to see a speed breaker strung across the road right smack in the middle of her house. Kids meant everything to Claudia. She loved them all. And many times during our conversation, that would be all she would talk about. Her ability to work with the kids made a huge impact on me. One day, as I was coming home from a hard workout at the fitness center, I went upstairs to change clothes. On my way back to the room, I saw Claudia sitting on the bed reading Dr. Seuss to my daughter in her bedroom. It was just like her, seldom missing out on an opportunity to help a kid. So I wasn't too surprised that she was there. When she started the academy, she asked me if I would come in and talk with the kid. And I said I would. She had an amazing talent connecting with the kid, reaching them at their level. And she seemed to have an inner command built in to enforce, keep the focus going. She was that good. She was like a snake charmer. So when I got to school, the coach would shuffle me between the classes, and where I would be hit with a salvo of question like, can you tell time? How do you shop? Can you cook? Where do you go out? And have you ever thought about getting a guide dog? Well, I had fun with that one when I said, well, when I checked in, all they had left was a Chihuahua. After the class settled down, Claudia chimed in with a few questions. Next came the obstacle course that the teachers had set up. And my cane came in handy, so I gave a crash course in using it. I was first to go, so I told the teacher, don't bother with the blindfold. As I got started, it seemed huge, like a maze. Felt like they had a ton of stuff thrown everywhere. I started poking my way, bumping into a few things, until I got to the end. The kid came next. They were blindfolded. They got started. Most did fine. A few struggled, feeling a bit uneasy. And others flew by with a little help of peeking. Then Claudia wanted to take a stab at it. So the teachers had her pretty tucked in with a blindfold before turning her loose. Taking it slowly, she moved cautiously, tapping the cane on the floor hesitantly. She stopped so many times, bumping into who knows what, before hunting for a pathway. It was wild how long her pauses were, like she stopped to guess where to go next. It got a little bit maddening, their weight as she pondered, plodding her way through to the end, seemingly a little lost in another world. About the time the next class was to arrive, cheers erupted as Claudia emerged from the morass, sounding a bit dazed. I didn't have the heart to ask her, how would you like to do that for a living? Claudia was more than a friend. She was someone I loved, and I will miss her. She left me with a boatload of memory that will be forever etched into my mind. She gave so much to the world, making a huge impact, touching so many lives. And we all have been graced by her presence. Thank you all for coming. Let me grab your left arm.
Yeah.
Whole time sitting there, I was wondering about glasses and thought I'd like to be able to see you guys. But if I can see you guys, I can't see this. So, inspired by Ed, we'll go about 60% fuzzy. So, some of you may notice I have a different style of shirt on than you guys do. We got just good old pictures thrown on there. And this is 100% Grammy. Okay? There is a lot of my mom in this. Yeah, you start with the kids. You've heard about mom and kids for 25 minutes. And it's what she did, right? She cared about us. She cared about them. She really cared about the kids at the school. It's pretty neat to grow up around someone like that. She would do whatever it took to help us. It's been mentioned. I remember, I must have been 4, preschool. She dragged my little booty to Doraville every day. I remember going past the big white oil tanks, the round tanks, and my dream every day was to get stopped by the train. She might not have enjoyed it as much as I did, but it was great. And it just kept going through the years. If we wanted to do it, we could do it. She would make it happen. She would help us. She would push us. That's pretty valuable. I suspect not too many people that know me now would say I was shy. I was so shy as a kid. I wanted to play Little League my whole life, and I was too shy to tell my mom I wanted to play Little League, who had probably literally never told us no on anything. That's I'm sure not true. But any real thing we wanted to do, we could do. And yet, that's how shy I was. You heard about Lynn cowering behind the skirts. A lot of the reason I'm not shy now is her and this ridiculous, goofy stuff she did. So, wherever we're going, whatever we're doing, what was the line? Take a picture of me so I'll know I was here. Which, as the sensitive teenager, I mocked. Now Google Photos is my memory. But we had an enormous box of pictures at home. 6 cubic meters of pictures. And one day she took a class. She took the collage class. And she bought in. And she went wild. Those of you who were in our house growing up probably remember the walls were just plastered. Every picture of anything, anytime was on the wall. A picture of little Dougie eating ice cream. We're going to cut that out. Where does that go? That's going on top of Grandma and Grandpa's curtains. And I used to love going to look at little Dougie eating ice cream on the curtains. There was a picture of me, maybe 3 years old, with one of the industrial-sized bags of M&Ms, and I was in was a sleeper, the onesie, and I had the M&Ms here, and I'm peeking around the corner to see if anybody sees me, and I'm so grateful she got that picture, and she threw that, and I spent my whole childhood looking at me, clearly heading toward a life of crime. So she's got her pictures. She wants to do it. She doesn't worry about making it the most elegant thing. She wants the picture up. The picture's going up, right? She just did it. And it worked. It's ridiculous, but it worked. We had that stuff. We got to see that stuff. We got to do that stuff. So when companies started selling products with pictures on them, she's their demographic. Mouse pads, tote bags, oh my God, blankets. Some of you might notice on the table out there, we got a photo blanket. It's a win. Check it out. It was spectacular. If she wanted to do it, she did it. Sierra, can you stand up? Hold up Grammy Sloth there for all to see. So you'll notice a little t-shirt on Grammy Sloth. That's one Mom sent Sophie when she was small enough to wear it, although Sierra squeezed into that children's small t-shirt yesterday. Considering wearing it today, we went with the sloth. But Sierra bought that for Grammy at Christmas, and we took it to her, and she gave it to her, and Sierra asked Mom, what's the sloth's name? And Mom said, Grammy. So that became Grammy Sloth. I can't hear a word you're saying. This happens a lot. I get that. Oh, did she? Man, we should have gone with that one. Dougie Sloth. But she wasn't concerned about other people thinking things looked silly or whatever. If she wanted to do it, she freaking did it. Right? And that is what drew me out of being so shy. I would not tell my mommy I wanted to play Little League. Well, my brother played Little League, for goodness sake. Talk about an example that probably this is going to be all right. From that shy to this clown wearing this shirt in front of you today, it's because she did that stuff. And it was really, really cool to grow up with. She was, as we said at the funeral in the 35-degree rain, she's a good mommy. She's someone you want on your side, and we had her on our side. So to me, the beauty of today Some of you might have noticed out there, I was basically giddy. Like, I like seeing you guys and talking to you guys. And we had a blast this morning talking about Grammy and her perm, which looked a lot like MacGyver's mullet, thank you. And then it was suggested it looked a little more like Billy Ray Cyrus's mullet. And, you know, you go with what you're going to go with. It was fun. And then seeing my girls walk into the car wearing their Grammy gear, it was awesome. I got a picture of it. So I love today. Like, I love that everyone touched from her is going to be out there hanging out and chatting. So there's a reason I'm smiling today, and it's her. So I think that's it.